Hello and welcome to this session, which is entitled Dragging Up the Past, Exploring Archives to Understand LGBTQIA plus references in Matthew Lopez's play, The Legend of Georgia McBride. My name is Jason Ramirez. I am Associate Professor of Theater and Humanities at Suffolk County Community College, the Michael J. Grant campus. I'm going to share a brief and simple dramaturgical exercise I use with my theater and gender and the humanities students, in which we conduct archival research to understand LGBTQIA plus references in this wonderful play by Matthew Lopez. Studying the script, which you see, The Legend of Georgia McBride, this script itself thrills students who are drag enthusiasts while also serving as a good entry text, kind of like a Drag 101 course for those who haven't taken the time to learn or reflect on drag performance. This is because it is crucial to understand the play that it is the play's protagonist, a straight cisgender male protagonist named Casey, who eventually becomes Georgia McBride. Putting that out there, it really does establish a fine theoretical approach and also practical approach for our students to approach drag performance, most of which our students are unaware of the history of drag. But the main character himself, as you see here in the slide, Casey, he's resistant and reluctant at first to learn, much like much of the spectators of the play, whether they be in the audience or whether they be my own students, in encountering drag as an art form. The play offers a wide range of characters that anyone can identify with, dependent upon their experiences and also their perceptions regarding drag. To dismantle stereotypes that interfere with understanding the play and the art of drag, we take a moment in class to define and distinguish between drag, gender, and sexuality. The National Center for Transgender Equality's glossary page, and also excerpts from Judith Butler's iconic Gender Trouble, emphasize that gender itself is performative. Those theories and definitions always help students understand and also explain through their own writing, because eventually we want these students to write on this play, that fluid identity of Lopez's multiple characters in the play, that this idea of fluidity is what creates our understanding of drag as performance, right? One character in particular, not just the main character of Casey, who becomes Georgia McBride in drag, but also Tracy, who while she's in drag, she is Tracy, but then her other for this audience, for the students and audience, character is named Bobby, right? And we see many of these characters double and triple. There, of course, is Judith Butler's Gender Trouble, and her stress that drag is an example that is meant to establish that reality is not as fixed as we generally assume it to be. It's interesting in this play that not only do we have the characters who are, for example, Bobby and Casey, who become Georgia and Tracy, but also we have Matthew Lopez in a very, very innovative way. He has a character who not only plays the drag persona of Rexy, plays the queen named Rexy, but also that same actor will play a totally different character named Jason, who is he's double cast to play both Rexy and also a cisgendered landlord named Jason, which allows for multiple identities, again, to be performed through the same body, destabilizing many student spectators' notions of masculinity, femininity, and exposing very simple societal constructions of a binary that are presumed to be real. When you add the extra layer of seeing the cast out of costume, we show them slides and promotional pictures of the actors in rehearsal and the actors in costume. Students start to get that the trappings we associate with gender are always illusory. Gender itself is just a performance or a creation, empowering, but also confining in its choices. And during discussion, students will often love the learning, and also will come back to one of the crucial comments that we make early on, quote, which is RuPaul's famous quote, "We're all born naked and the rest is just drag." The play itself, the action of the play hinges on a pivotal confrontation in which Rexy drops a heap of LGBTQIA plus references in a series of lines culminating in a monologue that reveals that Rexy was once beaten by homophobes in a violent hate crime. Rexy's words challenged the rookie, more or less, the straight drag queen being played by Casey, who's new to drag and really only came to drag by accident and for the money. The play's inciting incident is that he's fired as an Elvis impersonator just before learning that his wife is pregnant. I'm going to read a little bit of the play. This is Rexy's big monologue, which also always has a major impact on students. So Rexy, toward the end of the play, in talking to Casey and questioning Casey's loyalty to drag and whether Casey should even be there, Rexy says, "Tell me everything you know about Stonewall, Mattachine, Act Up. Could you even find Christopher Street on a New York City map? This is about respect, heritage, lineage. We ain't running a fucking community theater here. This shit is life and death. I didn't choose to be a drag queen, baby. I was born one. I don't get to opt out when the going gets tough." One night back in Houston, I'm walking in my car, about to drive across to do another show, when a brick materializes out of nowhere. Houston is a miserable little town for a little gay boy to come up in. The only place in the world I felt safe was inside a bar called the Montrose Mill Mining Company. That's where I put my first face on. So there's one night between shows, I walk out to my car to get my cigarettes, when a brick materializes out of nowhere, hits me right in the face. Then another brick hits me in the head, right here. By now I'm on the ground and I look up and I see two of Houston's most promising young citizens preparing to kick the living shit out of me. And I get to my feet, I face my attackers and I say, "Well, motherfuckers, show me what you got." They did all right. Pointing to her nose, broken, pointing to her teeth, false, pointing to her lip, busted. I was 16 years old and I still have the guts to walk out to my car every night as I am, even in this shitty homophobic town, because I'm a drag queen, bitch. Drag ain't a hobby, baby. Drag ain't a night job. Drag is a protest. Drag is a raised fist inside a sequin glove. Drag is a lot of things, baby, but drag is not for sissies. My students always get a sense that Lexi is referencing some historic and very important events and also personalities in that monologue. Rexy mentions Lady Chablis, Hedda Lettuce, Lipsinka, Divine Barbette, and also mentions Stonewall, Mattachine, Act Up, Christopher Street. But the lines don't really land with them until we do the research. Unprompted, students will gloss over this scene without stopping to look these things up. But Rexy's lines confront the spectator, our knowledge and our experiences, and to avoid their impulse is just to search and summarize encyclopedic info. Instead, we challenge them to locate not just the words, but the artifacts associated with the history. As you can see, these are pictures of my students on a field trip to Stonewall Inn, where we read the play and other plays that we read. My students will tour both the actual landmark of Stonewall, and they'll also tour online exhibitions, catalogs, archives, to help unpack Rexy's references, noting her ambiguous mention of Stonewall when they find contested descriptive language like uprising, riot, rebellion, in different historicizations of the bar, the historical city itself as landmark. They listen to podcasts, reconstruct timelines, examine, act up original pamphlets, and present all of this information, even looking up sometimes some very interesting artifacts, for example, commemorative artifacts through this online searching. For example, this coaster from the 50th anniversary Mattachine Society's SIP-In. They discovered that Lady Chambly, for example, was a transgender African-American performer from the Florida Panhandle, which is where the playwright is from and where Lopez's play, Legend of Georgia McBride, actually takes place. So the references gain metatheatrical significance. They find out, for example, that Hedda Lettuce was Lip-Sync's assistant. They see images of Barbette, clips of Divine from multiple John Waters films. The one that they usually are most taken with is the original Hairspray movie. They often know the musical Hairspray or the film version of the musical, but they don't know the original film nor the history of Divine as drag performer, drag icon. Once they find out everything, and what we'll often do in classes, we'll have a show and tell where they will uncover their primary sources and the commemorative artifacts that they might have found, which always leads us back to the script, but with an enhanced sense of what the characters and the conflicts are all about. We'll perform this dramaturgical exercise the same way we might as if we were in production as actors or directors, designers. The goal, ultimately, to fuel and inform our writing, which is always the key, always what we want to have happen.